On straight lines, I have to say that it's a missile. Definitely, it's a missile on two wheels. What's up YouTube, welcome back to a new video, and that too on the KTM Duke 790. I just can't believe that I got this motorcycle to ride in this kind of a highway for this long time. Oh boy, this is a next level machine, and I have to admit that India's fastest KTM is ferocious as well. I mean, it's not at all fitting into the mid-weight segment. It is really gonna compete with the leader class vehicles, and that too without efforts, because the kind of acceleration that gives, the torque that it is available is like brutal. So let's look at all the things which is available on the Duke 790, and please ignore my shadow and don't think that I'm a humpback whale or a camel because you see my backpack over there. So just ignore the shadow. So let's get into the motorcycle. So I have to say that aesthetically this motorcycle has a really peculiar character. It's unlike the other KTM. In other way, it is like the 390 more from the front part, just this front part. Apart from that, it has a huge difference, because I have compared it, just keeping it with next to the 390, and there is no similarity when you see side by side, and only similarity that you see is the headlight, and that is very predominant. So that's one reason mainly people tell that it looked like a 390, but to be honest, this is next level. ಏನಾಯ್ತು hand?
Action willing.
Take care, man. Alright, now you know that this motorcycle get all the attention. Alright, so let's look at the things on the motorcycles. I have to say that this has a very peculiar character when you compare to the other KTM that you see in India now, especially the 390s and the 200s, because it has a very larger seat. This motorcycle is indeed a little taller for me, for my height, but the seat is like very cushioned, and you have a very good butt room. And when you're sitting here, then you have a better planted foot, but when you're sitting back while you're riding, then yes, you have a very good butt room. And the thing what you see over here is the aluminum subframe, and this is the airbox, and altogether it's a very small motorcycle. Okay, even though it is a 799cc motorcycle, which is a mid-weight variant motorcycle, this just weighs just like a 300cc motorcycle, and it is, I think, a 3 or a 4 kg more than the Street Triple R is also. So as you see, the tank is like very slick. I'll just get on to the motorcycle and I'll show that to you. So when you just get over the motorcycle, you can see that I'm tiptoeing on this motorcycle, and from this angle it feels very sleek, very light, and very small also, because this is just as big as a mobile phone. That's all, this portion, and then the tank goes like this, so you have very good leg room. If you're a tall guy, don't worry about it, because you have enough leg room here. So from this angle it looks massive. So since we are here, we'll just look into the instrument cluster. Before that, I'll just walk you through all the switches here. Very basic switches. I mean, it's surprised to see that on this kind of a big motorcycle. So on this side you have the kill switch and the ignition combinedly onto one switch, and this is a typical KTM navigation setup for this display. And this is the indicator, this is a horn switch, and you have a pass switch here. That's all, nothing fancy. So when you turn on the motorcycle, you see that beautiful dash coming in, and during night time I have to say that it looks really bright, and it looks really nice. During daytime it's okay, it is visible, but night time I like it a lot. I didn't want to turn it on. Okay, so what you see over here is the gear position indicator here, and the big tachometer which redlines at almost 9.5 rpm, and this is the speedometer, fuel meter, heat level indicator, and down here we have lot many options: the time, the current temperature, the trip meter, and the range as per the fuel which is there in the fuel tank. So this motorcycle comes with 4 riding modes. So let's see that. So if I use the set button, I'll get a favorite. I'll just get in the favorites and see what it is there. So it has the temperature, it has the trip 1 information, and the trip time, how much time did I took, and the traction control, and all those things are on or not. Those things are there in the favorites. So I'm coming out of favorites, get into the most interesting part of this motorcycle, the riding mode. It is in sport mode now, so it has sport, street, rain, and track. So the rain is the least powerful, then the street, then the sport, and finally the track mode. In the track mode, you have all the power of this motorcycle, and you can disable the wheelie control, the traction control, and it's all adjustable, even though you can adjust it. So let's get into the motorcycle tab, and you have the traction control here. So if I can go and turn it off and turn it on in the track mode, and ABS also I can switch. So that's it with the dial and information. So when you get onto the motorcycle, you don't have that kind of a rear set foot peg that you see on a 390. It is a little forward set when you compare it to the 390, but it's in fact a little rear set, not too rear set, okay. And one more thing, if you came to this video just to see me riding this motorcycle, you can go to this timeline, but I'll tell that just wait for some more time. I'll just explain you things, and after that we'll go for a ride. Surely I make that interesting. So the handlebar is a little sporty, so this is my normal riding stance. I just have to put a little lean angle for my body to hold on to the handlebar, and the handlebars are not that raised. It is like a little down. You get a feel that you are sitting over the motorcycle than inside the motorcycle, so you feel that. So one problem is like when you are doing high speeds, you will get to feel that wind blast a lot since you are sitting over the motorcycle. And there are a lot of controversies with this exhaust. Personally, even I don't like the exhaust, but I like the exhaust sound. This motorcycle is a 790cc parallel twin, in fact, which sounds like a V-twin. That's something surprising. It's because of the irregular firing order. To be honest, I'm not a fan of parallel twin sound, but this motorcycle is next level. I have heard this motorcycle inside a room, inside the showroom. It was like shaking the entire building. And when it comes to the road, it's like very sweet and very nice. It's not overly loud. Once you put an Acra, I know that this is going to scream like anything, and it's next level. Okay, sometimes I really hate loud motorcycles, but I'm pretty sure that an Acra on this one is not going to make it irritating, but sweet and arrogant. I don't know what to tell about that. Probably if you love the Husqvarna Nuda, then probably you love the exhaust note of this one. This is something very peculiar, like very sweet. And coming to the tail section, I had a little disappointment seeing this seat when you look from the prototype point of view, but I'm really happy that a pillion can comfortably sit on this motorcycle. And yes, the exhaust pass in some heat, but not bad to a level that it will burn the thighs of the pillion, because you keep the leg over here and there is no chance that your pillion will go and touch it unless he or she goes and grab the exhaust. And this plate, see this plate, I was riding here, so this plate hasn't got heat. Yeah, I can do that, but if I touch this portion, then I'm pretty sure that it's hot. And coming on to the rear section, it has a very different tail section, the lights and all. I'll just turn it on, which looks neat and clean. It doesn't give an aggressive look. Okay, the only one thing which I wanted to see is like aesthetic changes on this motorcycle. Like it should have that killer looks that the 1290 has, the headlight and the rake angle. So but this is not that kind of a purpose. KTM has made this motorcycle like an all-purpose vehicle. Okay, it has a good ground clearance. You can take it to off-roads, no problem. It doesn't scrapes at all. And the suspension, man, the suspension is in fact really surprising for me, because it's not so hard and it's not so soft also, because in the city it was taking nice, and when it comes to the corners, it has decent feedback from the front end. And be in the high speeds also, like 200 or 220, like nothing, it can take it up anything. And it has a steering dampen also here, if you can see. So when you're really onto the high speed like 210 and 220, you'll feel the head to be a little lighter. Otherwise, like super comfortable and super confidence inspiring. On straight lines, I have to say that it's a missile. Definitely it's a missile on two wheels. And talking about the brakes, the front brakes are like actually very sharp and as well as progressive, so it's good for beginners. If you are upgrading from a 300cc, you'll get used to this kind of a brakes very easily, and it's very powerful also. The rear one is not so powerful. The reason why it is not like that is because if you are having a pillion, you can use the rear brake to control the motorcycle, because if you just slam on the front brake, the pillion will come and hit on you, so you can avoid that kind of a problem. And this comes with adjustable brake levers and clutch levers. That's a good thing. By standard, it's coming like that. The tires are giving good confidence. I couldn't corner too much because I had a couple of corners here, but that too high speed cornering. I was doing 160, 180 at that time, and it has coped up well. And yes, this comes with an auto blipper and a quick shifter, and it works perfectly fine. I didn't had any issues till now. So let's fire it up and hear once. So by the way, I have made a pure exhaust note video for this motorcycle. You can go and watch that. So let's go for a ride. So these mirrors are giving good visibility what's behind you. It's the same mirrors that you have seen in the 390. I wish it is a little more taller and wider, but no problem with my chest width. It's not a problem at all. So let's go for a ride. So the motorcycle is in the sport mode now. I'm using the clutch to shift the gears now, because in order to use the quick shifter, there's a minimum cutoff for the RPM, which is 4k. So until then you have to use the clutch. But when you're using it in the city, I think you have to use it in this way. Almost all the time you have to use the clutch. The clutch is little heavy, but the good part is like there is not much of a play. So it has a less play, so that means it's not so hard to ride this in the city in terms of gear shifting and clutch. So I can take it to higher revs because she's already hot. I know that you guys are gonna tell that she's hot, that we know Strell, but I'm talking about the motorcycle is already hot, so it's warmed up, so I can take it to the higher revs. So it's in the sport mode now. Oh my god, what a performance. So as I told you, there are modes like the rain, the street, the sport and the track. So this is in the sport now, but I hope you would have noticed something. The first 3 gears are like shorter gearing, okay? It will reach the higher RPMs pretty quickly, and that is in fact required when you're riding this motorcycle in the city, because you don't want a taller gear ratios when you are in the city. You don't want to ring it hard and then come back. If you are in the second gear, you will be comfortable riding this motorcycle in the city, second or the third gear. It's up to you. So the 1, 2, 3 gears are like you can shift quickly, and then 4, 5, 6 are like you start ringing and you can see the RPM goes high. In that sense, the 1, 2, 3 is clearly tuned for the city use, and 4, 5, 6 is for cruising on the highways. In fact, you don't have to use the 4 and the 5th gear to cruise on the highways. This speed is like nothing, okay? It is running in 3.5k RPM, which is like a very much understatement for the 790. This motorcycle can cruise at 150 km per hour. I'm talking about the cruising, because at 150 you will feel that the 6th gear has started taking the power. So when you want to overtake a vehicle, just twist it, that's all. Don't feel that the throttle response is less now because in the 6th gear and I have undershifted. That's the reason. It should have been in the 3rd gear or the 4th gear, ideally in the speed. And as you can see, this doesn't feel like an inline engine like an Z900 or a Street Triple or a GSX S750. This is the main question that I got from many people that do. Should you buy this motorcycle over these other motorcycles? So in my opinion, this has a very peculiar character. If you're going for an inline, yes, you should know first of all why you go for an inline 4. You should know the difference between a 2-cylinder, 3-cylinder and a 4-cylinder. So when it comes to higher cc, 4-cylinder means it is more refined, it is more engaging in the top, and you have to ring it and the RPM should go high. The 3-cylinder means it is the best of all worlds because you have the torque and everything at the mid RPMs, but the 2-cylinder is like absolute madness. You don't buy this motorcycle for the refinement or the comfort. It is basically the aggression. You have to buy this for the aggression basically. Of course this motorcycle is comfortable. I don't have any argument in that, but if you are buying a KTM 790, if you are looking forward for a KTM 790, your main objective should be a brutal, a madly accelerating and engaging motorcycle for you. If you take the Z900, it takes some time to get into the top end and all. I have ridden a Z900, I have ridden a Street Triple RS. Personally, I own a CBR 650R, which never even come closer to this motorcycle. So that's what I'm telling. If you are looking onto this motorcycle, a bigger cc 2-cylinder means you get everything in the lower RPM. It's proper street motorcycle. So let's put into the track mode for now, and I don't want to disengage the ABS or the wheelie control because I did it once and I don't want to risk it anymore because it pulls wheelie, man. I'm little scared about it because it's not my motorcycle. So anti-wheelie is on, launch control is on. Man, what a performance. I shouldn't have used the clutch for downshift. It has an auto blipper, I forgot that. This is what I told you. Have a very aggressive motorcycle. The throttle is like super sharp. and the response is so good that you'll never go wrong. And when you're going in high speeds, I think you have seen that the front end goes a little lighter, but the steering damper is taking it well, so no problem with it. I would like to see a little more stiffer suspension for cornering and a little more high speed stability, but on the other side, this suspension setup is giving good comfort while using it in the city also, and especially in bad roads. And to talk about the heating capacity, this is what everyone want to know. So if you are looking for a bigger cc motorcycle, definitely it will heat. The catch is like how it is getting managed. So on this motorcycle, it heats up in city conditions, but if you are on the highway, nothing, no heat at all, and even the pillion won't feel any heat. But if you are using it in city, the heat will go just behind your calf area and it goes off. So don't worry about it fries your thigh and all. The heat doesn't comes to the thigh at all. It goes behind your knee and behind your calf area. You could ask me that how did I found it out, all these heating things, because I live in Bangalore, and Bangalore is selected as the #1 city in the world for congested traffic, and thank you very much for that. In fact, automobile journalists in Bangalore don't have to go anywhere to test the heating dissipation of the motorcycle or the stress test of the motorcycle. We can just be in the city and casually test it out. So thanks for that. And so what else? So this motorcycle comes for 9.7 lakh on road in Bangalore now. So it is like a discounted price. And I know that few people will be having this feel that what if the 890 comes in, and there is no official news about the 890, so it is like the 790 for India. Most probably they'll be bringing the BS version of 790 from April onwards. So that's the on-road price, and you get a mileage of around 15 to 22. That's what I saw in internet. I'm not sure about it. But if you are owning this motorcycle, do let me know in the comment section about it. And the service cost is something surprised me. It costs 7,000 to 7,500 per service, and the first service is in 1,000 kilometer. From then on, you service this motorcycle once in 15,000 kilometers, which I haven't seen with many other motorcycles, especially in this segment. So in that sense, the service charge is like very cheap, man. Because I own a Honda CBR 650R, which costs around 3,000 to 3,500 once in 6,000 kilometers. So this goes to service once in 15,000 kilometers, and it is taking 7,500. That means it is way cheaper than my CBR 650R. And as I told, this motorcycle feels very light. Even though the wheelbase is a little greater when you compare it in the segment, I don't feel difficulty in managing this motorcycle in the city, because it is light. The only thing is like it is little taller. If you can manage that balance, then it is okay. The turning radius is like good. You don't feel like scared when you're turning if you know how to use the throttle. So that greater wheelbase factor is taken out. So from a price point of view of 9.7 lakh on road in Bangalore, what I can say that this motorcycle is a steal deal for me. With this kind of a technology, like you have the anti-wheelie, the traction control, the wheelie control, the riding modes, ragingly aggressive. This ragingly aggressive 790cc 2-cylinder motorcycle. If you are looking for something very brutal and very engaging to ride, this price point of 9.7 lakh, this is like a steal deal. I cannot compare any inline motorcycle with this. No chance in it. But yes, I agree to a fact that sometimes people don't recognize your motorcycle as a big motorcycle. So if you're that guy who doesn't want to show off, then do check it out. Okay, do check it out. This is going to be your next motorcycle, I'm pretty sure about it. So that's it with this video. I hope you like this video, and as always, show some love in the form of likes and comments. See you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.